Hello everybody, we are back with a new video on quantum physics. Again, I am not a scientist, I am a shaman who needed scientific proofs of what I was living as a shaman, so this is the reason why I like quantum physics so much, and also why I chose through these videos to actually share the philosophy and the spirituality that is behind this great science. So today's concept is going to be the double slit experiment. There was a debate in the 17th century over light. Isaac Newton thought that light was made of particles, whereas Christian Huygens himself thought that light was made of waves. So Thomas Young was actually able to stop the debate many years later with the double slit experiment. He took a board and made two slits in it in order to see how light would behave. Very simply, if light was made of waves, it would have reacted just like waves, like sea waves, and it would have gotten this result. I don't know if you can see. It would have gotten this. I will not get into why waves create specifically this type of pattern, but I will put in the description of this video a video that is going to be more scientifically oriented, where you will get all the explanations over why waves will create this specific pattern under the double slit experiment, and also over all the things that we'll talk about today. So scientific guys, the link is below. My idea is truly only to remain focused on the philosophy that is behind quantum physics. So this is why I don't get into the scientific details. So if light on the other side was actually made of particles, it would have gotten this pattern, you know, where actually, just like a paintball gun, you know, you're throwing one paintball at the time, and then it would either go through one slit or another, and then thus create specific pattern like this. Whereas waves, as we can see, but I'm sorry I didn't explain much, but at the same time I don't want to get into the scientific details, but waves actually diffracts and create many different patterns, many different lines, if you may, at the same time. So through this experiment, using this experiment, Thomas Young was able to prove that light was composed of waves. Now it gets interesting, because the same experiment was made with electrons. Electrons sent one by one, you know, just like a paintball gun. Electrons are present in matter. And electrons were known to be particles. And when they did the experiment, they actually noticed that when they sent all these electrons one by one, they actually got this pattern. So scientists went nuts. They went nuts over this, because up until this point, everything proved that electrons were particles. So it was really hard for the for many of them, and up until today, actually, up until today. And what they did is that they wanted to know how, how could electrons, like there were definitely particles, how could they behave like waves? So what they did, because they wanted to know really much. So what they did is that they actually put little cameras and detectors, like right there, right before or right after the board, in order to see each electron, to really follow each electron's path, its trajectory, and know why, what happened, like how can one thing create this. So they put all these cameras and detectors, like a bunch of stuff. And when they did so, when they put all these cameras, the detectors, very high-tech things to check, to know, in order to know, what happened is that as soon as they did so, the electrons started to react, to behave as particles again. This is why this experiment is actually one of the most, it's called the most beautiful experiment of physics, and a lot of people are completely obsessed with this. So this is the reason why, And whenever they would stop and turn off the detectors and the cameras, electrons would start to behave as waves again. So they would turn on the camera again, and it will behave like particles. So it was quite funny because, like, for these experiments, scientists, they tried to switch, the detectors and the cameras, like, as fast as possible, and using a lot of, very high-tech technological stuff in order to see what happens. How can electrons, like this smallest particle, can choose, okay, you're watching me, I'm gonna act as a particle. You're not watching me, I'm acting as a wave. And even though with all the technology that they put in, with all the scientists, ideas and experiments and trials and technology, like, call it whatever everyone tried everything. Every time there was something that was in the room, in the space, that was going to be able to measure what happens, or to watch, or to carefully analyze what happens, the electrons would always behave as particles. Every time. If you want to know why, it would act as particles. But if you would just look at it and turn off all the measurement, cameras, detectors, whatever, it would start acting as wave again. What does all of this mean? Oh my God, it means so much. I'm gonna make a 2-hour video on this. No, I'm not. What does all of this mean? Okay, first of all, we are composed of electrons. Electrons are, as a matter of fact, electrons are present in matter. We are matter. Everything that we know is matter. So pretty much electrons are present in everything that exists. Electrons can be wave and particle at the same time, which means that they can be immaterial and material at the same time. And they actually also choose which one they want to be. Or someone or something, let's say something, chooses which one they are going to be. We are composed of material and immaterial things, elements. Our material things, our material element could be our physical body. It's simply as this, you know. I mean, I am here, you are there, okay, you know, material. Our immaterial side could be compared as our brain, our consciousness, our mind. So what is material can be located. What is material can be located at a specific time, location. You know that it's right there. Just like our body, as I said, I am here, you are there, my, table is here, and yeah, we can locate material things when it's particles. Sorry. And all that is immaterial, what is immaterial cannot be located, so just like the waves here, this one thing come, but where does it go? We don't know. It goes everywhere. Our mind thus is everywhere, and so as everyone's mind is everywhere, we all share something that makes us one. There is no separation between human beings. Hurting someone else, it is hurting yourself. What all of this also mean, what all of this also means, thank you for bearing with my French accent. What all of this also means is that the fact of wishing to know, we want to know the truth, will only push the universe to show us one truth. And we can only have proofs, get proofs for this one truth. See, when we are certain to be right over something, yeah, they don't get it. Or when we try to convince someone that, they should believe this or that, we find all types of arguments. We show them all types of proofs, in order to make them understand that our truth is the truth. But it isn't. It is only our truth, and everyone has his or her own truth. When we simply observe things without trying to prove our point or to prove the nature of things, we are in complete acceptance of what is. And this is when we can truly see the magic in people and in things. When we understand that our truth is only ours, we don't try to push this truth on other people, and we accept that other people also have a different truth, and their own truth should be respected just as we wish for our truth to be respected by others. All of this also means that some things must remain a secrecy. We are not supposed to know certain things in our current state of mind, in our current evolution. And indeed, we are not ready to receive some truths. Imagine that you took a time machine and you went 500 years in the past, and you met your ancestor and told him about all the, technological innovation that exists nowadays. How can he even begin to understand your words? How can he even begin to imagine what all of this is? You know? I mean, it would blow his mind. It would maybe make him become obsessed, crazy or fed up of his own world. So, we are not supposed to know certain things, and we must accept this because it is for our own good. Finally, all of this also means that even in the smallest particles, there is an intelligence. And this intelligence is far greater than what we can imagine today. And we are composed of a gigantically crazy number of particles. So, just to remind you, so listen to your inner voice and trust the process.